يا إلهي قدراتك لا تهدى في سمائك أرضك على الأكوان. أنت رحيم أنت لطيف بالعباد. قلبي يسبح باسمي رب العباد. يا ربي يا ربي ارحم قلبي، أنت نوري أنت حبيبي. يا ربي يا ربي اغفر ذنبي، أنت معي أنت حسبي.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا وحبيبنا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تبارك وتعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا جعلنا ما على الأرض زينة لها لنبلوهم أيهم أحسن عملا. وقال تعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا. صدق الله العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Alhamdulillah, I begin in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then by sending the best of salutations, peace and blessings upon His last and final messenger, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And may the infinite mercy of Rabbul Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon all of the companions radiyallahu anhum ajma'een. Either I'm a little late today or a little too early. Not sure exactly what happened, but the audience seems to be a bit early today. Usually when I start the talk, there's very few people here. And as our routine, mashallah, we'd like to come right before salah time. Just as I walked in, I thought of Marna Rafiq rahimahullah. He had his own approach of getting the message across. Some of you who know him or who knew him would be direct and blunt at times in reminding people to be early to listen to the talk. He would have his own style of saying it. If it's okay, I'll go ahead and share something similar along the lines. I think I may have attended a few of his Jummah talks, and towards the end of the talk itself, the bayan, he would say in Urdu something along the lines कि हम तब आते हैं जब देखते हैं कि इकामत मौलवी खड़ा हो गया इकामत पढ़ने के लिए, नमाज पढ़ने के लिए. Something along those lines. The moment salah is about to start, that's when we walk in. And it's very true. And my message to everyone here, Friday talk lecture is pretty much the only thing left for us to take our spiritual dosage from. Because the week is so busy, and we rarely get to hear the kalam of Allah, the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, except for the Friday lecture and talk. So if we can make an active effort in trying to attend and in trying to listen attentively and actively the message that's delivered within the Friday talk, it will do wonders for the rest of the week. But nonetheless, alhamdulillah, since we spoke about Mawlana Rafiq rahimahullah, I'd request all of you to recite Surah Ikhlas and inshallah send it upon his way so that he continues to take the benefit of the stuff that he's done for us in this life, and inshallah which continues to benefit him. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillah. The verse which I recited just earlier, Inna ja'alna ma 'ala al-ardi zinatan laha linabluhum ayyuhum ahsanu 'amala. There's a lot to mention in very little time, but I want to draw your attention to a very crucial and a sensitive matter. Subhanallah, most of you may have come across a shipment or a box or a packaging which says handle with care, right or not? It may have glass within it, it may have a mirror or something of delicate nature, and there's a big fine print, handle with care, right? And if we don't, we end up possibly breaking the content that's within the packaging. So we're told, handle with care. Likewise is the state of this world, this dunya. You have to live within it with care. Why so? Because the very nature of this life and this world is attraction. It's deception. It's longing to live for an extended period of time whilst we can enjoy the riches of it. This is the nature of this dunya. It pulls, it attracts, it invites, it calls, it entices. That's why it's made that way. And Allah has stated this in the Quran. إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا مَا عَلَى الْأَرْضِ زِينَةً لَهَا. Everything that we've made, this entire world, and whatever is in it, it's a form of beautification, attraction. All for us. Why? لِنَبْلُوَهُمْ أَيُّهُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. So that Allah can put all of us to a test and see who then goes on in doing good deeds, in doing that which is right. Because imagine if there was no force pulling us towards the dunya, then of course we just continue to worship Rabbul Alameen day and night without any distraction, without any, in a sense of, less of devotion. But because the world is pulling and attracting and calling us to it, we're reminded, don't forget your duties when it comes to Rabbul Alameen. Don't forget your role as a Muslim. You have to pray 5 times a day. The way you deal with people, you have to have the highest of morals, the highest of character. You have to have sunnah at display. You need to leave a good impression the moment you part from anybody that you were engaged or conversing with. So Allah mentions the nature of this dunya is to call, attract, and invite to itself. And of course, if we were to fall into that trap, what happens ultimately? We become heedless and forgetful of Allah and ultimately the purpose of life. Okay? For example, which comes to mind, most of us, alhamdulillah, have taken road trips. We have taken road trips, whether alone, privately, or with family and friends. So you have a destination that you need to get to. So if it's, for example, out of state, let's just take New York City, for example. You want to take your kids and the family to New York City for the weekend. That's your road trip. Maybe 5 hours from here, roughly, give or take, depending on the traffic or the day. So let's just say 5 hours. Now, you know your destination to be New York City. You leave home, but then within the 5-hour journey, you start to make frequent stops at every rest area and every scenic scene or exit. Do you think you're going to make it to New York City in 5 hours? You start to stop at every rest area and every scenic scene that comes along the way. You pull over, you stop, and you just, mashallah, you enjoy the view. Forgetting that you were supposed to be in New York City at a certain time, but now you won't be able to make it on time because you became distracted. You, in a way, took far too many exits that you could afford to take. But you went ahead of time, subhanAllah, and now that you're distracted, now that you're late, now you have to make up for it one way or the other. In this dunya, our destination is inshaAllah Jannah, the pleasure of Rabbul Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala. The more distracted we become and the more traps we fall into of shaitan, exits that he's placed before us, and the more we go towards the path that shaitan has laid out before us, the difficult and hard it will become for us to reach our destination, which is Jannah, and ultimately the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's a beautiful hadith of Rasulullah in which he describes and mentions 2 narrations which come to mind. لا يزال قلب الكبير شابا في اثنتين. That a man, an old man, an elderly person, his heart remains young in 2 aspects. Even though he's old, but his heart will remain young in 2 aspects. First, في حب الدنيا, love for this world, and second, وطول الأمل, and extended and long-term goals, dreams, and hopes. The message within this hadith is life is short. Live it right. Life is short. Don't fall into the deception of shaitan and his tricks. Life is short. Don't live distracted. Subhanallah, today we have literally senior care homes by the name of assisted living. Assisted living, meaning people are there around the clock just to assist and help the elderly live a normal routine. We, the youth, and the people who are not within the homes, those senior care homes, we are in a phase of distracted living. That we're so distracted about our daily routine, long-term goals, when it comes to our faith, our salah, our iman, our ultimate goal, we're all distracted. And we need reminders over and over again that life is short. If you're blessed with 60 years, guess what? You'll want more, because that's what the hadith says, that an elderly man will continue to remain young in two aspects. One, fi hubbi dunya, in the desire of this world, wanting more and more and more, and will never come to an end. And second, subhanallah, is watul al-amal, long-term hopes and goals. That you will draw a blueprint of your life for 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, where I wish to be, who I want to be. Whereas death, who knows, may come next year, may come 5 years from now, and you have plans for the next 50. Now, I'm going to pause here and ask all of you this so that the elderly don't assume and think that I'm targeting just them. No, that's not the message. If the hadith is clear about the elderly wanting and desiring this world, what do you think is the status of a young person wanting the world? Think about it for a moment. If an elderly person craves so much in wanting to live longer, in wanting to accumulate more of this world and its riches and its wealth, what do you think you have to say about a young man? I mean, for him, it's a complete different story. Why? Because he has the energy, the stamina, the wealth, the youth. He has a bright supposed life ahead of him. He will do everything in his power to secure that future. Whereas Allah is promising us and reminding us that, look, اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد. Fear Allah, be mindful of Allah, and see what is it that you're sending ahead for yourself for your afterlife, the life of eternity. A beautiful quote that I read within a book, something along the lines that the way we choose to live and how we live it, our death will tell. The way we choose to live and how we've lived our lives, our death will tell. But once death has overtaken us, how we're going to live our afterlife, our death will tell as well. So in a nutshell, the way we leave this world will tell you of how we chose to live in it. And in the manner we leave this world in, will give us a hint how the afterlife will be like. So, on a concluding note, the two things that man continues to desire for more and more and more, one is hubbud dunya, love for this world. It will never come to an end. There's a beautiful saying, some denote it and some quote it towards Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, that he had said, the love of this world is like drinking from the ocean water. The more you drink it, the more thirsty you will become. And if you continue to drink just ocean water, eventually it will lead you to your death. Because that's not healthy. The same goes for it. Hubb dunya, love for this world. We have to find a right balance. Yes, work, earn, do the best that you can, and however many hours you need to put in. But don't get lost as you're doing what you're doing and become completely forgetful and fall in the category of people who have come into ghafla. And Allah mentioned this clearly in the Quran. وَلَا تَكُمْ مِنَ الْغَافِلِينَ. Don't be amongst those who become heedless and forgetful. We need to make sure that we remember Allah in this life. You know why? Because if we remember Allah, Allah will remember us. And if we can remember Allah in this world, Allah will surely remember us in the akhirah. The beautiful verse of the Quran. Allah mentions, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. Remember me and I will remember you. The hadith of Muhammad ﷺ, in which he mentions that we talk about Rabbul Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala amidst ourselves. Whereas if we do that, Allah will talk about us in front of the angels, the malaika. Can you imagine for a moment your name being mentioned in the gathering of the angels that so and so Allah loves, that's all you could ask for. So keep that in mind. May Allah Azza wa Jal grant us the ability to recognize and know the reality of this dunya and how it's going to perish eventually. A time will come, it will come to an end. And so will the inhabitants. But we need to make the best of it while we can, especially in our age and the health that Allah has blessed us with. May Allah Azza wa Jal grant us strength and cuisine. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك